Gary Vee, Joe Rogan, Gary Vee, Joe Rogan. What do they have in common? Both happen to use live streaming techniques as a way to connect with their business, but also their expertise. Watch this video to learn how to use Restream live stream for business.
Hey from the future, it's String. I'm about to throw some epic knowledge bombs and fried chicken at you. Get ready.
I'm going to share with you 5 techniques for you to leverage live streaming for business so you could be like Joe Rogan and Gary Vee. 1. Video podcasting is key. Video podcasting means that you could leverage audio and visuals, meaning your eyes, to make the most of it as well. A lot of times we're creating content, but the powerful thing about video podcasting is that you can extract the audio so you could turn it into a podcast and upload them into different podcasting streams like Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple. So that's the audio side, that's the podcast side. But we should leverage video because YouTube has the best video search engine. Remember, it's number 2 behind Google, and Google happens to own YouTube as well. So why not leverage audio and visual as a way to make most of the content and be discoverable as well? So video podcasting is key to being discoverable. The great thing about video is that we could cut a long form, like a 1-hour session that Gary Vee does, into short bite-sized content. The most interesting point about Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan has 2 channels, YouTube channels. One is his long-form 2-hour conversations with Elon Musk, Sam Harris, Jay Leno, Lance Armstrong, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. What's important is that he's also leveraging the short-form content because people love like the bite-sized content. So he has 2 channels, one for his long-form and 2 for his like shorter bite-sized content, and pushing them onto Instagram, Twitter, and other social channels as well, including Facebook. 2, go cross-platform. That's why I like Restream. Restream allows you to go into multiple platforms in one spot, meaning that you could go onto YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and other different platforms as well, even Twitch if you want to go that way as well. So that's why I like going cross-platform with Restream. Go to this part of this video if you want to know more on how to set up Restream and push out one video to multiple platforms and go across platforms. 3, invest in equipment. Invest. Actually, I'm in 2 schools of thought here, but I'm going to share both of them so you could like think and consider what you want to do. I actually think momentum is key. By having good momentum, you could progressively go better and invest in equipment. But for people who are starting out, momentum is key. Like actually investing in audio and good webcam, in great equipment, because I really want to make sure my content is crystal clear and has clarity so I could push it out into different platforms. Like I'm watching a bit of Gary Vee and he doesn't have awesome equipment. Gary Vee just uses his AirPods. So it kind of shows that you don't need awesome audio equipment to create your own show. Just think about that. 4, when it comes to content, the key secret of Gary Vee and Joe Rogan is that they have conversations and they're a great host. They ask great questions. They focus on the value they provide. And Joe Rogan, his key to success is that he's having conversations, having deep, meaningful conversations with his guest. And he invites people that he thinks are interesting, because when he invites interesting people, they go have interesting conversations. And when they have interesting conversations, his listeners are going to enjoy the experience as well and find it interesting as well. So one of the key secrets is having interesting conversations with the guest. So make sure that you invite interesting people onto your show. But that only happens if you do good research, right? Having good research and preparing the interview makes the most of the conversation as well. The only reason why he has these awesome conversations is because he knows what to ask them. But a good conversationalist keeps on asking questions and open-ended questions and segue into it to make sure that it flows into the next question as well. Our role as hosts is to make sure that the conversation flows. Whereas Gary Vee also has conversations, business conversations, helping other people and thrive in their own business, in particular these like COVID times. Gary Vee understands who his audience is and make content around his audience. It's not about him, it's about providing value. Deep, meaningful conversations as well. 5. And finally, this is something that I personally do that I think you will leverage as well. One of the reasons why I've been able to travel around the world and extract awesome information and then leverage content is interviewing awesome people. And I think when you interview awesome people, you leverage their influence and network as well. Because I think about my portfolio of interviews, it kind of adds to my credibility and expertise as well. So I want you to think about who you're interviewing. What you're doing essentially is leveraging off their audience as well. YouTubers call it cross collaborations, where they leverage off each other's audience. But when it comes to business, it's actually about the portfolio of your network. So within your industry, who are the influencers that you want to interview? Your portfolio of people that you interview is also a reflection of your network as well. When you have a great portfolio of awesome guests, it's going to be easier to reach out to people who don't know you and cold reach out to them and ask them to come onto your show. And when you do that, they go see your portfolio of your awesome guest and say, yes, I'd like to be part of that lineup. Yes, I'd like to be part of that show. Yes, they go say yes to you if they see this awesome lineup. So what's important is that you have to reach out to them and make sure that it's succinct, but also you provide value, saying what your show is about, who's on your lineup, what topic you like to talk to them about. And when you do research, it makes a difference. So here's an example of how I reach out to people on LinkedIn or on email and on different platforms as well. Sometimes you could reach out to them through their website. On their website, they have their own contact form. So on the subject line is like invite to podcast or live stream show. And then it's like, hey Joe, I'd love to invite you onto my show named String Theory. And we're talking about live streaming, podcasting, and how to monetize your influence. I had other guests like Gary Vee, Elvis Presley, Donald Trump. I don't know why I said his name. But what's important is that once you highlight what the topic is about, what you go talk about, who's been on your show, they pretty much say yay or nay. What's the best thing they could say? Yes. And the worst thing they could say? No. But if you don't ask, the answer is always going to be 0.
Hi everyone, String again. I'm going to be doing a simple tutorial on how to use Restream Studio because I want to be like lo-fi and easy, like how Gary does it with his Tea with Gary Vee. So to do that, think about all the equipment that you have around your house, whether it be your headphones, the headphones that you use with your iPhone or your Android phone. Think about the tools that you have around you to increase the quality of your podcast and video podcast show. And then we've been using Restream Studio because I feel like Gary Vee is using something very similar to on his own. And for you to do that, I'm going to introduce you to Restream Studio. So watch this tutorial part to learn how to set it up and think about what you need to do to set up your own show. First thing we're going to do is click and set up your own account inside Restream. In the description below, I have a referral link and I want you to click onto that referral link because it helps me, it helps this channel, it helps you as well. And after you log in, you go see the first thing they're going to point you to is the destination stuff. And when you're in the destination page, this is the first question you should think about. What are the channels that you want your restream or your live stream to be pushed to? Onto YouTube, Facebook groups, Facebook page, like I mentioned YouTube already, onto LinkedIn, which is what I do when I push up my shows. I push it up to LinkedIn Live. What are the channels, even to Twitch? What are the channels that you want to push your business stream to? And I do feel like there's something about Twitch that you should consider because a lot of people are gaming and talking about business. So there's gaps for you to leverage if you want to push out into different multiple platforms. But saying that, I just want to make a mental note that if you want to push it out to Facebook groups, you need to have a paid account. So you need to make sure that you have a professional account with Restream. And after you hook up your destination, you could turn this on and off. So I'm just going to turn this off for now, just in case I accidentally press buttons and it actually gets pushed out, which has happened while I was doing this tutorial. So better turn this off for now. But when you're ready, you go into the live studio and enter the live studio. Something to note here, I actually did a tutorial to hook up Restream Studio in the link above, and I want you to know that Restream is pretty cool in terms of like setting up things and making it more technical. So if you want more technical control, like hooking it up to OBS or Zoom, this is where you play around with the settings. But for now, we're going to focus on Live Studio. Click onto Live Studio. Now that we're entered the Live Studio, let me introduce you the layout of the land. And at the moment I haven't hooked up this camera because I'm actually recording here, but this is where you see your face, your lovely beautiful face into this little window here. This is where you mute your conversations, this is where you could disable camera, this is where you could share your screen as well. This is where you can invite guests. Yes, you can invite guests on Restream Studio. And when you do that, you just have to share them this link and give them this link for them to access and be part of the Restream Studio conversation. And you could also add and upload videos, pre-rolls. You could pause and do a break if you want to, outros. This is where you add videos into this as well. Make sure it's an MP4 file. And you have two layouts of the land, so like you could have a half-half, or you could have a share a little two-screen experience and see a background here. So I'm going to introduce you to chat, caption, graphic, and the setup as well. Let's go and check out chat. So the good thing about chat is that to you to activate chat, you have to make sure the channel is activated. So I will turn that on after I set up my stream. So the good thing about chat is because we're pushing out into multiple platforms, how is it like communicating with your community, with your audience? Because they're all chatting in different platforms or different things. Like YouTubers will hang out on YouTube, Twitters can hang out on Twitter or Periscope, for example. What you need to do is that you just need to collate it into one place, and Restream does that in one place. So my Facebook groups, my conversations on LinkedIn Live, it gets put into this chat feature, which makes it super useful, meaning that I could go into multiple platforms and be where my target audience is. That's the advantage of using Restream Studios or Restream. And the next thing is captions. So captions is great because what it does is that you could put a call to action, remind people to follow you on different platforms and socials. You put the titles there, you put the questions here. So be creative with the way you want to use captions. And the good thing, I should also mention in the chat as well, that you can click and show the conversations and the chats into your stream, so then it makes them feel like they're part of the conversation in your studio as well, so that you could show it, hide it. And that's one of the good things about having a chat. It's because you could integrate these conversations, your community's conversation, your audience conversation into the stream. So let's go back to captions. So the captions is that you could add these as well, so you could add the captions into the conversation and help move the conversation going. And if you're really organized, you could always use it as a way to segment into conversations. So you could like pop the questions up, pop the like game shows up. So use it as a way to organize and segment your show out. In the graphics side, so the cool thing about the graphics side is that you could put your own logo into there, you could put your own overlay into this, you could add your videos into this, and you could pre-roll it. So this is Restream actually offers this like pre-roll like 27 countdown, and for restreams or like for live streams, you have to remember that it takes a while to warm up the community as well. So having this countdown actually helps warm up the community and make sure that things get ready, because the first 1 second could be super awkward. So having this little pre-roll countdown makes it seamless in terms of pushing out your show. So you could also control your background as well. I actually, if you want, like I always have this purpley blue background as part of my Restream and with my studio and my live streams as a way to make sure that I'm on brand. The thing to note is that if you're on a free account, you're going to have this logo that's going to say powered by Restream logo on the free accounts. So the thing that if you want to control your branding on this and the visuals on this, you have to be on a paid account with Restream. You could even include participant name into this and enter the name of it and control the color of it as well. So there's something about having your own visual as part of it to make sure that you're on brand make sure that it reflects your branding, and it also builds up your personal branding as well. So think about it, if you've got sponsorships as well, you could always overlay it with their logo into this. So there's opportunity for sponsorship with your shows as well. And finally, the setup. This is where you enter the title of it, your description of it, and this is where when you're ready to push rock and roll, you can turn on these toggles on to let it know it's like, this is where I want to push the stream out. So if I would update the title, fried chicken story, fried chicken, just as an example, it updates all the titles and descriptions for your YouTube, Facebook, events, LinkedIn Live, and other social channels that you want to push onto, even to Twitch. And when you're ready, all you have to do is turn on these toggles. So there you have it, a really basic, and then when you're ready, this is the big important button, the go live here. At the moment my camera is not being set up properly, but this is where I'll imagine I'll set up myself here. And when you're ready, this is where the most important button is to go live. And when you want to finish your live stream, this is also the button that says like, I want to like not go live anymore. If you have any questions, comments, let me know what your show is about. Put it into the comments below. I'm super excited to see what kind of show you have with your Restream studio, even your live stream show.